Hey, I think it's time we could go ahead and get it going. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining another episode of NFTV. This week we're on episode 8, and we have the King Cameron Van Hoy, director and creator of the Flinch NFT film project, and a actor that's been in the space for 20 plus years, has had lots of credits, has been very creative in the space out in LA, and very excited to hear about his journey into Web3 and crypto, and especially about his production of the Flinch NFT project and everything that went into that. It has some amazing co-stars, and I'm really excited to hear about that. Cameron, thank you very much for joining us today, King. And let's just get started. Let's get it going in here. Thanks for your time today. How are you?
Yo, I'm good. How are you?
We are very well. We are very well. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
What's up, John? John Anthony, how you doing?
Hey,
King Tony.
hey,
King
good,
Tony.
good. Yeah, good. Things are good. About to head out to LA or NFT LA and get some news on the ground, some boots on the ground there. We have some roots in LA, but been gypsies with COVID, so gonna be good to get back out there. So,
Yeah.
where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles, and Flinch is actually throwing a party at
Oh.
NFT LA.
Okay.
So
Which
you
night?
should, you
Let's
should
go.
come.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. It's going to be on the 30th.
Okay.
I just pinned it to the top.
Awesome.
Nice.
Um,
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. We'll
And just
we'll
pin it
side
to the
channel
top.
about that. Yeah, would love to join.
Great.
Cool.
Appreciate
And
that.
I've also got my my good friend and one of the actors in Flinch, actually. Mike is up here as a speaker.
Hello, King
Um,
Mike. Thank you for joining us today too, brother.
What's up, Rad? How you doing, man?
We're doing
What's up,
very
John?
Good.
So let's get it started. King Cameron, I went through your Instagram. I went through all your websites. I want to start off by saying congratulations on your recent marriage and your family that you're beginning to build, sir. It's awesome to see, and everything you're creating in the space. And I said it a moment ago. I got my notes here in front of me now, but I had your feature-length film, Flinch NFT, probably one of the biggest projects I've seen in the space so far. An hour and 40-ish minutes long. You have built a custom web player on Poly on your website, and everybody can navigate. And I have the links on our channel. Just go to our pinned tweet, and you can go to Flinch NFT everything. You've got feature-length films with Daniel Zavato, Tilda Cobham Harvey, Kathy Moriarty, and Tom Segura. Most familiar name to me on there, Tom Segura, huge podcaster right now. And I'd love to get a start of how maybe your journey into taking this project into the Web3 space. It's nobody's released a feature length film and really done full marketing in this space. So I'm interested to hear, and I know our community will be interested to hear as well. What made you come the Web3 route, and maybe when did you begin production? Because obviously this has been years in the work.
Yeah, for sure. Also want to give a shout out to She Crypto, who I see, and then also the Starseed Film and Music account. I don't know who's behind it right now, but I see them a lot, and
Invited
just wanna
them
say
both to
hello.
speak.
Oh, great. Yeah, so I started making the film before I knew about Web3. The only thing that I knew is that I wanted to maintain ownership over the movie, right? I didn't want to give away the rights to the film. It's something that has become very common for filmmakers now, that they're just like, oh, I got to give away the rights to my movie. And the deals have gotten worse and worse for a variety of reasons. I don't want to do that. Done it before. I believe that artists should own their work. So that was just like the ethos. That was like my mantra going in to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't really know how that would play out exactly. And then I learned about Web3 and just was like, oh, wow, well, this is good timing.
It really was perfect timing for you. Absolutely.
And just dove right in. And I kind of was like, I was taking it out myself as I was learning about it. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to launch it this way. And then I kept having to push back the launch because I kept learning more and like really studying and didn't like, it's like, even still, like I haven't even announced the mint date yet because when I launch it, I want everything to be so perfect, but it's just been a constant process of like, okay, well, we could drop it like this. Like, oh, actually, there could be a 10,000 generative character NFT drop, and the
Right.
characters could exist within part 2 and 3. And then, oh, well, actually, you know what I mean? Like, and you just can. It's like because there's so much to take in this space, and so much to understand, so many different ways to do it. But yeah, that's been the journey.
Awesome. So what's the feedback you've received so far into the space? And I know you built your own player, which is a pretty, that's what a lot of people have had to resort to is building their own player or platform or website that is a portal to their content because there is no one really servicing this space other than us. So it's been great to connect with you and to see what you have built and to see what producers, creators like yourself are wanting from the space. And what pushed you into that, and what was the process like, and maybe why did you choose? What made you choose Poly? Was it the low fees?
Yeah. So, I see this as two things. One is I see the blockchain and NFTs and Web3 allowing communities to replace centralized organizations like movie studios or music labels or venture capital firms or a variety of different things, right? It's kind of power to the people, which is really awesome. And so that was like the initial idea centered around what to do with this project. But then I also wanted a way to like distribute the film in Web3, which is kind of like another way to go. And when I was looking around the landscape at first, I was like, well, how would that work? And I was playing with a lot of ideas, like maybe play to like watch to earn ideas, which I was working on, and like just finding developers to build things out. And so one of the first things was like, well, we definitely need a way for people to connect their wallets and watch the film because one, we would know who watched it and when they watched it. And then you're like, oh, well, that's cool. You can do a lot of cool things once you know someone who's watched your film in that way.
Right.
You could drop them NFTs. You could do giveaways. We could have their wallets, and now they could be on we call it a hit list, but on the white list.
Yep.
So that's kind of where it started. And then, yeah, Polygon we chose Polygon for that because we wanted it to be Ethereum adjacent. Our NFTs are going to be on Ethereum. And so it just made sense to deal with Polygon first. We are working on other means of distribution and exploitation. We've partnered with certain companies, like we're working with this company Beam. We have a cinema in there that's about to drop soon, that's a really cool platform because that allows people to connect their wallets, but they can pay.
That's Casey's platform, right? Casey Neistat, is that Beam?
No. Mihai, Tess, and Cyprian run Beam. But we're working with them. There's lots of cool distribution outlets. We're not really trying to revolutionize distribution so much ourselves. I think the space does that. We're more focused on community ownership and development of IP and of cinema and of stories. And then we're just partnering with other cool distribution means. But yeah, we did build the cinema at first, and a lot of people have gotten themselves on the hit list that way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool what you guys are doing with your whole project. You title yourself, kind of your tagline, as the world's first film franchise on the blockchain. And something that was really exciting to me when I was going through your content and your websites is that you plan on sharing the revenue from this film or feature films. And I don't want to misquote you, so don't let me. Can you give us the kind of fundamental foundation of the project of what I see you're minting maybe 2 different types of NFTs when you launch, and can you explain a little bit about how that works and what the goal of your project and collection are?
Yeah, so we're only minting one type of NFT. We're minting a generative character NFT. These are characters that exist in part 1, part 2, or part 3 of the franchise. The poster NFT, which I think is the second one that you're referring to.
Yeah, I think that's right. There's 2 different things of reward basis is what I was seeing. I'm sorry if I confused that.
Right. No, it's all good. We're gonna do an airdrop of the poster NFT to anyone who holds the character NFT. And actually, we're doing something really cool with the poster NFT, which I'd love to talk about. But um, I'm sorry, what was your question again?
Yeah, I was just asking about a foundation of the project. You're doing a great job of answering it. Of
Oh,
just exactly
right.
what the NFTs are and how they relate. And you're doing revenue sharing. You're doing some co-creation. You're going to own characters. Just some more about that.
Right. Yeah. Again, so the basic premise is that you replace a movie studio with an NFT community. So a movie studio would traditionally give you financing to make a project, and they'd have some governance over it. They'd have access to it, and then value derived from it would come back to them, right? Well, that's you do the same thing with an NFT project. That's what that's what most of these NFT projects are saying they're going to do anyways. It's like through the mint, something, income comes into the project. The project uses that to do whatever it says it wants to do. The community has some governance over it. They have access to it, and then they get the value back from it. Obviously, there's various ways to do this. Ours, most specifically, is once we complete mint, we go and we start making part two. The community is involved in making part two. And it's kind of choose your own involvement, right? Like you can get really involved, or you can just hold it and be along for the ride and have fun. But we want to give the opportunity for like real, like genuine involvement. And we also want to create like a space where filmmakers and just not even filmmakers, creative people or anyone who's interested in film can kind of learn about the process as well. Because I'm sure there's a lot of learning curves that are going to take place for people. But so there's the governance factors. Like, here's an example. Whenever I make a film, like previously, and call it Web 2 or whatever, whenever I would make a film, I would always do something called a test screening with the movie. So I'd have a cut, like an early cut of the movie, and then you bring in audiences of people that you don't know, and you have them watch the film, and then you poll them, you get notes back from them, you talk with them, you ask them questions. And you do this again and again and again. It really helps you to refine it. I kind of do the same thing when I'm writing screenplays as well, by the way. It's like I send those scripts out to as many people who will read them as possible and get notes back. So imagine being able to use your community in that way,
right.
Yeah,
it's just such a huge resource. Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, like giving the community paths for like more, like even more involvement than that, like, paths to come into the writer's room, come to table reads. It's just really, again, like really just finding ways to work with the community for development.
It's awesome. I love the idea of a community coming together that owns a part of a franchise and then marketing it together. That's something that, as an artist myself, I've really brainstormed about for 10 years of what will the future of marketing look like when these projects are really truly community based and the community owns a piece. So they're incentivized, and that's really what we're talking about here in Web3 is true incentivization for everything as far as being a super fan. So something that's really interesting to me is that you have had a successful career and a very long career in traditional media space before you jumped into Web3. I saw that you posted on an Instagram post that you were telling people to buy. Somebody messaged you and said, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you, thanks for telling me to buy Bitcoin in 2011. And I wish I would have listened to you. And I appreciate you telling me that. And I think about you telling me that all the time. So I'm interested to know kind of what your background was in crypto and what your path was up until the point of Web3 is the answer.
Yeah. My career has been in film. As a filmmaker, I started as an actor when I was very young, did a lot of acting. And then around high school.
Born and raised in LA?
No, I was born in San Diego.
Okay.
And then somehow I ended up in LA doing films and television. And then I moved to New York to go to the High School for Performing Arts in Manhattan, which is where I met my buddy Mike here, who's a wonderful actor.
Yep.
Hey, Mike. Feel free to jump in anytime, King.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on,
I know. Yeah.
He's spitting.
Yeah, studied there and then had a video camera throughout high school and really was passionate about cinema and started falling in love with classic movies, started making my own films. And I moved back to LA and was like, all right, I'm going to make movies, and jumped into that. And, here we are now. It's been a grind and a lot of work to even get this far in my career. But it's been really good at the same time. I've also, I got into Bitcoin very early. I remember, I don't know, I learned about it somehow and just believed in it immediately. I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be huge.
Right.
It's gonna be massive. And so started buying it, started telling everyone around me to buy it. Mike, I think, got into it probably because of me. He'll argue and say, no, that's not true.
That's absolutely not true.
No, well, I had a roommate at the time, Danny, and I hovered over him. I was like, you got to buy Bitcoin. And, I got him into getting it. I mean, I don't know, Mike, when did you get Bitcoin? What was your catalyst? Maybe I'm wrong. What was your catalyst?
My catalyst was FOMO. At that point, it was already shooting through the moon. So then, I jumped in,
right,
and then it dropped.
Because I got
so then I bought back.
I got in at 200 a coin. When did you get in?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was 69,000.
Literally the top.
I think I literally was like, I'm taking a loan out on my house. There's no way that this is going down from here.
Oh man.
And then I put it all in. So anyway, you guys, if you want to interview me, I'll be under the overpass at the Boulevard.
Mike, a comedian too, huh?
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah. So I don't know. I got into Bitcoin early, and then we got into all the other coins. Like, we were buying. I mean, Mike fell in love with Ripple early on. I remember that. Mike had a Ripple moment.
My first heartbreak.
Ripple,
my first, but not my last.
We were buying Ethereum at $20 a coin, and I was buying Decentraland, which I'm still holding a ton of it. Like, freaking 5 years ago.
Awesome.
I wish I bought the land. They weren't.
Right.
They weren't selling the land back then.
Yeah.
And then I kind of bought the mana token, and was I bought so much of this shit back in the day, and just sat on it.
Awesome. Is that what did you know that like metaverse was coming and land was coming? Was that your anticipation, or were you just playing the game of buying what was hot and holding?
Well, I knew decentralization was coming, and I knew that a better monetary system was coming, and I knew that, like, the internet would have its own currency, and I knew that humans would have digital currencies that were immutable and permissionless, and, like, I think the term is trustless, right? That you didn't need centralized organizations to be in charge, that we had a way to barter without, middlemen and women. So I knew that was coming, right? That made so much sense to me. And then, I understood the Ethereum thing as well, like smart contracts, and I knew that was coming. And I knew metaverse stuff was coming, but I was so hot on, like, Bitcoin and just crypto in general. I wasn't jumping on metaverse stuff. I kind of jumped on metaverse stuff when everyone else did, less buying mana. I jumped on metaverse stuff and NFT stuff about a year ago, when we were still held up and we were on Clubhouse. And then I was, like, learning about NFTs, but I always had my ear to the ground. Like, we were DeFiing and we were, like, getting interest on our stuff. And, I've always been, like, always had my ear to the ground. And
it's really interesting that you followed this and then had the opportunity to dive in professionally and instead of sticking your toe in the water through a huge project in your life into the Web3, and, like, this answers questions for me. Did you attempt to shop Flinch to traditional distributors and outlets, or did you know this was the answer and this is the way I'm going?
I knew I wanted to own the movie, so we weren't taking it out. We weren't going to sell it to anybody. We even had some offers. And, like, my last film, I produced a movie before this called Tragedy Girls, which stars Craig Robinson, Brianna Hildebrand, Josh Hutcherson, Alexandra Ship. Really cool film. And, we sold it or licensed it. We did like what most filmmakers do. And I just was very unhappy with it. I don't like those deals. They're not great deals. They're not great for filmmakers anymore. Unless you're getting, like, even still, like the kind of the best you're going to get as an indie filmmaker nowadays is, Netflix will come in like 3x your budget. They'll be like, all right, we'll take it 3x. We're going to hold it for this amount of time, which still is just crazy to me. So no, I wasn't interested in that. We weren't really shopping it. There were some offers. Offers naturally will come,
right,
because
right.
I do know a lot of film distribution companies and things like this, and they're aware of what I'm doing, and they reach out. You talk, and you're like, oh, well, I just did this, and they're like, oh, well, we'll make you an offer.
We're interested. Yeah, let's talk.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't. No, we didn't pursue anything specifically.
Awesome. I like that. I like that you didn't pursue anything, and that's a big question Tony's had for a lot of our guests is, what would make you keep the rights? And a lot of guests in a lot of these projects, it seems like they're anticipating and maybe even hoping on Hulu or Amazon or Netflix come save the day and buy out that content and allow them to move forward producing whatever's next. But I like the fact that you just kind of closed that door and like, no, I'm moving forward. This is going to be community based, and delivering such a high quality project to the space is unreal. I mean, I think this is the first feature length film that I've seen in this space, and definitely the first live action project that we've seen, especially with big names on it that have, great credits and names and faces that we know. So to have that work and you be putting that effort into the space, thank you for bringing that to us. It's awesome to have a piece like that in the space.
Well, yeah, and it's an interesting dynamic because we've seen this. I think most of the video projects have been delayed in the space because the mainly the tools that have been available have been JPEG tools.
Yeah,
and now that video tools are becoming available, a streaming platform like Rad can be born that's based around Web3. And so then, as Cam said, the dynamic is, I think, just baked in over the last decade of anybody creating video today has their sights set on getting it on Netflix or Hulu or somebody to pick it up. And in the Web3 space, it's when is that crossover? Because if you do an NFT drop and you raise $2 million on it or whatever it is, a lot of times that's not enough to create a full-length film or even a 10 episode series at a really high level. And so, when what's the crossover of, I need money, or versus like it's important enough for me to maintain full creative control and build the community up. And because if you do an NFT launch and all the people who bought into the NFT project are going to get some benefits, some royalties or whatever it is. And then Netflix comes and buys the rights and they're like, no, you can't do anything. Like, you just left your NFT community out in the cold. They're like, we're not giving you royalties on shit. So, like, we own your content now. And see you, maybe we unlock it in the future, maybe not. But, it's an interesting kind of changeover in the dynamic of, and that's, as Cam said, we've asked this question almost every single space and podcast that we've done is, when is the crossover, or if at all, like if this is like a fully Web3 thing and Netflix came knocking and they're like, we'll give you $20 million for this. Do you say no?
No, you say yes. Look, it's not about.
It's my king. Well,
that's a win. That's a win for the community. That's a win. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. It's all about power to an extent as well. When Netflix was first in the game, they were paying well and letting artists own their work, right? This idea that artists, filmmakers, especially producers, have to no longer own their films after they make them is a very new thing. Okay. Right. Filmmakers always owned their movies. Producers generally, and then directors, and then everyone had like a piece. But there was really good revenue share for a long time from both theatrical, then the video and DVD market. And then from video on demand, it was Netflix that kind of beat that out of the system slowly over time. When they first came into space, they were paying great. I've licensed movies to Netflix. They were great deals. We still own the movies. That slowly changed as they started making their own stuff, getting larger market share.
Yeah, because now you're a competitor. Yeah.
Right. They started pushing out the market, which is what tech does, right? Like big tech comes into spaces like Uber, and they like get all this money from Wall Street. They go public. First they get all this money from VCs, hedge funds, then they go public. They get all this public capital, and then they raise tons of debt from the debt market, and they keep boosting their valuations, and they're able to get more and more debt, and then they spend more and more, and they kind of like flood a marketplace, and they push people out, and then they set prices, and then they kind of capture everything, right? When the water rushes out, everyone lost all their stuff.
Yep.
It's like that's what Uber did. It subsidized rides for people forever so that they could push out all the other taxi businesses around states, And so this is how tech works, and it's a wonderful way to work for them. But like for creators hasn't been so great. So now we're just at that point. But then it also creates other weird ripple effects and problems where like originality starts to stop.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they start implementing these weird formulas, and then bureaucracy gets involved, and then like the movies start getting worse and worse. Like, a lot of like Netflix now is, a lot of their programming really sucks. Like they get a banger once in a while, but it's for the amount that they make, should be having way more good films coming out.
I mean, there's really none. A handful, yes, but there's really none. They're not hitting any grand slams that are like world access content that everybody is talking about. No huge franchises are coming out of these spaces, no matter how much money they spent.
Netflix sucks. Let's just all be real. Netflix is trash.
Just like big mediocre.
It is the Facebook of all of that, of streaming. It's terrible. They make the worst content, but the thing is they'll have one or two bangers. Like every one of them will have one or two bangers that you're like, oh god, but I love that show, and that's what keeps you hooked.
What was the last banger from that?
That Netflix had?
Yeah,
I mean they have what? Don't they? Is Euphoria Netflix?
I'm kind of confused on who owns what now on Netflix, because they're putting their Netflix tag at the top of a lot of stuff that they're not producing anymore. So like it's content that people are, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not an expert in the space, but it seems to me like it's a lot of people that are creating content and then shopping it, and so it's already done, and then Netflix is slapping their name on it like it's their content. And
so
yeah, and also Netflix will, to answer your question, Cam, like what they'll do is they'll buy the people. So they'll get like Dave Chappelle,
right?
And now they have Segura, right, Cam? They got Segura for a few specials.
They have a lot of specials. Obviously done that. Says he, right? They go on the legendary movies and spend whatever they have to on those, and usually that will yield a movie. Yeah, like I guess I don't need to shit on Netflix entirely. It's just it's like it's the whole system. There's issues within the system all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole issue, in my opinion, in the superhero with the major studios. That's not Netflix at all. But like,
oh man, they're milking that.
Yeah, it's just like it's the same exact plot line that a new superhero is thrown into like twice a year.
Yeah. So how many can they dig up? And that it really points to like this whole kind of piece of the conversation actually points to how hit driven the whole space is, and how you can really have unlimited money and still not make hits. And I think like we've talked about this also, this has been a theme in some of the other shows here, is that like some of these projects who, first of all, they're like anons, like nobody knows who they even are, and then they're like, we're gonna make a studio, we're gonna make a film, we're gonna make a metaverse, we're gonna make a game, and I'm like, all these things are so hit driven that it's like you're gonna do an NFT drop, you're nobody knows who you are, you're gonna raise $1.5 million, and you're gonna make a hit.
Yeah.
I'm like, so like what you guys are doing, like it's at a very, you can tell like it's at a very high level. You know what you're doing. You can see it like straight away. And even then it's like, it can be a challenge to put out the right thing that's amazing, that really resonates with people. And, so it's like the work that goes into it and being able to identify that and then make the right bets on that community matters, as opposed to like all the fluffy stuff, because the industry, particularly, film, television, video content, is so hit driven, and it's like you could have the right thing at just the wrong time and it just won't work. like Arrested Development.
Right. Orson Welles had this quote. I think it goes something like, "The lack of limitation is the death of good art."
Wow. Yeah, I agree with that. The lack of limiting myself is where I'm the most creative. If I'm making music and I've got endless kick drums, I might as well take a nap, fam. It's over. I don't even know what to do. But if I only have one kick drum or two and I've got to make something out of it, all of a sudden I could do anything. I'm like empowered through the limitation. That's a great quote. You guys came into the space with a finished product that you're not raising money with some hopes of something in the future, which I think is a really respectable starting point. You guys came in offering ownership in a franchise, and you have already completed a third of the work, which is an incredible offering and service of like, we're coming here with this. So can you tell me how you see, I know you don't have a date yet for your NFT launch, but you do see that in your near future. And I see at the 80% sold mark, you're opening up a community wallet that will receive 50% of the revenue share from the cinema. Is the cinema the web player, or is that both the web player and the Beam cinema included in that as well?
Yes. So cinema is just like all of the exploitation of the film.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And I need to get on that site, probably like update a few things still. There's like a million and one things to do in building the space. It's like you're always trying to like clear it. Like even when you at the top of the space was like mentioned the 2 NFTs, I'm like, well, where is that not clear? You know what I mean? Like, it
is 2 NFTs though, right? Because you are doing the cards and then you're doing posters, right? You're doing a movie poster.
No, that's for sure. But only one will be minted.
Correct.
And the other one's going to be airdropped to everybody. So it's like, I just want to make sure all these things are always clear, right? It's like really clarifying the vision. But yeah, okay. So I'm a big believer. Like, okay, I made a film years ago called Tooken, which it got made and Netflix took it back. This was back in the day.
That's fine.
And we made it. The way we got that movie financed and made was we made a spoof trailer that we put on YouTube. This was early YouTube, and it got a ton of views, right? Like millions and millions of one on the front page of Funny or Die. And so we got a deal.
What year was this?
Oh man. I'm really bad with years. I want to say like 2013,
okay.
14. That was back when Netflix was really interested in picking up things that had a lot of views on YouTube, right? That was a moment in time. They were like, yo, the eyes are on YouTube. We want to pull those eyes and get them all. So I think that's going to come really soon for NFT projects. I think there's going to be a time very soon here where all of these centralized organizations and brands and platforms are going to be trying to pluck IP from right here.
Yes.
And so for me, like, I think the grand vision is, this franchise, like, the day when Netflix goes, hey, we want to have this for a year exclusively in the United States on Netflix and make it like a thing, you know what I mean? Like this Web3 community owned and developed film franchise. That's going to happen, right? It's going to happen for somebody. It's going to happen for multiple projects.
Yeah.
Whether it's
even if it's just for
Amazon,
the press, absolutely, it's coming for sure. Yes.
Oh, it's coming, and then we're going to see what communities are marketing and supporting a project that they have a piece of, right? Like what that looks like, because we've never seen that society before. So now suddenly we're going to have these communities that are going to be just hyping these things up online. Who knows what technology will be that.
Mm-hmm.
And where the communities will be at that point. So like I'm racing for the puck I'm racing for where I think the puck's going, and I think this is where it's going. So yeah, our vision is to make a franchise, a 3-part crime franchise, and I think we're gonna have some big wins out of doing it. And then at that point, I want the community to fully take it over. You know, I don't want to stop there. I want to see this community continue to develop this IP. I think the IP that we're creating in Web3 is going to exist, and I want to see them been on Netflix, and I'll be there to support it. You know, but hopefully at that point, the community is really taking it over, and they're electing producers from the community and filmmakers from the community. Continue iterating the IP and developing it, building, creating. Who knows what's possible.
You're breaking up kind of heavy, Cameron. I'm not sure if it's maybe a Wi-Fi issue or something. I just wanted to let you know it's breaking up quite a bit. Not horrible of like need to reconnect, but it is breaking up some.
Is this better now?
Still doing it a little bit. We'll keep going.
What if I drop out and back in? That always helps.
Great. That's fine if you'd like to do that. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, I'll give a couple. So this week's been a great week for Rad. Everyone, we've got a ton of stuff going on. Tony will be posting our weekly update here soon. And as
just posted in the Discord.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
thank you.
And yep.
Why don't you tell the community about our BSV engagement and a little bit about our cross-chain plans, if you would like.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, I mean, we've been putting together new capital, just generally, and so so far have raised a couple $1 million in that endeavor, and a couple of those groups are different chains coming in, one that we'll be announcing soon, one that was already announced. And so that gives us the opportunity to integrate other chains into the marketplace and make content discoverable across as many chains as possible. So, I think the goal as an aggregator and a content distribution platform is to support creators in as many ways as we possibly can. So, if we're the only streaming platform that supports Web3, we need to support Dax, Solana, Ethereum, everything,
wherever they
BSV,
are,
like everything,
wherever they are.
Flow, yeah. So everybody will see that start to roll out. ETH is where we started. I mean, we started writing smart contracts on Ethereum in like end of 2017, and basically using ERC20. Because 721s weren't even really formalized when we started our work, and 1155s didn't even exist. So, we were arguably super OG. We just had some headwinds that kind of slowed it down. Like we're talking
right.
about this now, doing film and NFT, and here we are in 2022.
Yeah,
we were in 2017 talking about it, and like we would go to all of our Disney's an investor in the company, like Sony's an investor in the company. We can walk in. I know Kevin Mayer. Like we can go talk to those people, but it's not even a thing where they're like, we could meet every task force on the planet and they'd be happy to meet with us. But they're like, yeah, we don't even know our streaming strategy yet.
Right.
This is really cool that you're talking about content on the blockchain, but like nobody was ready for it. And then of course, like crypto crashed in the end of 2017, early 2018. And then anybody who had any conservative streak in them or was at any corporation or any major VC fund, they were like, nah, we're out. Yeah. We're on the sidelines right now. So, fast forward to 2020, end of 2020, early 2021, and everybody's attitude changed largely around Top Shot being a catalyst there. But anyway, I think we were well positioned to take advantage of that and had already done some of the work. And it's not a hype driven thing. We're just philosophically believers in this, you guys were talking about it earlier. I got into Bitcoin when it was 200 and, been in it for a decade now, and just a believer in what it enables. And thankfully, we've been skating to where the puck's going, and thankfully, like the puck is meeting the content business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now,
it really does feel like it's all coming together right now. Like having these conversations on here in the last couple of weeks with Blue Studios and Rhodes Jerome and Jeremy Jensen from Deadheads and Cameron Van Hoy from Flinch. Cameron, I see you've joined back. Thank you, sir.
He's back. Yep.
It really does feel like things have turned a corner. And I think Cameron's got a good point of there will be some acquisitions in the space from the big major traditional players in the near future.
A little bird told me that Bored Apes on Netflix is going to happen.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know, maybe or maybe not, but
we'll see. We'll see.
But I heard it from somebody who would know. So we'll see.
Hey, Cameron,
Bored Apes is going to happen everywhere.
Yeah,
They're going to happen everywhere, and then that's going to bring more people into space.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's just going to bring more people. It's going to get more people to get crypto wallets and jump in and then try to find IP. There will be that moment when it's like everyone's going to be like, "What IP can we get our hands on?"
Yes.
You know, whether it's the studios or whether it's just collectors. Right. Like that.
Are you afraid of that, Cameron? And that's something that I've thought about, and I'm kind of hesitant to ask anyone.
Yeah. Do we want that?
Yeah. It's like is that's almost an attack vector, you know? Netflix could just come buy all your NFTs and then they are your community. and it's almost a way out. Too.
They're scared because this approach of Web3 like fundamentally destroys their business of we own all the IP and we rent to you every month. Like, as opposed to we don't own any of the IP and buy it, own it. It's like it flips everything about what they're doing on top of their head. So like, of course they're going to, if they start to see it as a threat, they're going to try to take it out. I think that'll be their first approach as opposed to trying to take it out. It'll be hostile as opposed to trying to authentically join the community.
But how are they gonna take it out? Like,
it's impossible.
How are they gonna take it out? First off, yeah, you're right. It's a fundamental difference outside of just ownership. It's like communities receiving the value back from IP that does well, or communities having a say in the direction of things, and more than like a Bandersnatch type say,
right.
Does he drink the red milk or not? You know what I mean? Like really involved. These new paradigm shift. It's like the magazines didn't know how to iterate when Instagram came around, and people could suddenly post and comment and like have opinions. Like so many old media systems were just like lost, and they just couldn't. Wait, hold on. They get to have a say, like they get to post a tweet, like what, and now these are these are big media companies now that we use and know, but they were incoming, brands at the time. So yeah, it's a paradigm shift. I don't know how they're going to be able to stop it because even what you guys are building, it's not hard. It's not that hard to build a streaming platform nowadays. And imagine one where you could connect your wallet, and then you can buy into the various franchises that you like, and then get various access and involvement to them. Right? Like that stuff's coming, and people are going to want that. It's just going to grow more and more, and I don't know how you stop it.
Yeah, and there's definitely no way they buy out the whole industry. I mean, there's billions of dollars of volume, a day or whatever that's happening, and I just think the top tier projects we could see it get more difficult for them with their communities because people are coming in and buying in. I mean, it's weird. It's like a weird, interesting moment, even with like Andreessen investing in Yuga. You look at immediately they launched this token, they launched the DAO, they claim investment, and then all of a sudden there's like, wait a second, this DAO isn't actually a DAO. We don't really have control in this community.
Mm-hmm.
And the harsh reality is with taking venture capital, we know how this works, and you can see it in this space. And I was even vocal about Yuga taking before, when it was a rumor. I was like, they shouldn't take it, they don't need it. But now those investors need an outcome, and they have fiduciary duties, and they have a board seat, and they can change how decisions are made. And so the community then ultimately suffers. And it's not necessarily like somebody came in and swept the top 20 projects and just bought them out. It's like it's chipping away at the authenticity that has been built into the community, which is a little bit of a challenge. But it'll, there's going to be it is a paradigm shift.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Like it's just a generational shift that all these platforms and the traditional investment models have been built up over decades, and everybody has to kind of change that.
Hey Cameron, do you there's been some pretty cool stuff in the space. There's the I think it was the Pulp Fiction scripts that were released as NFTs, and a few other kind of high level pieces that have like trickled into the space. I'm interested in two things. A, what have your friends and colleagues and acquaintances from the traditional media space, what's their reaction been to your launch and distribution model in Web3? And second part of that, do you see a future where multi-$100 million productions are funded in part or in full by these new community models?
Yeah, so I mean, people have been very receptive to it. Some people are like, okay, I mean, there's all kinds. Like, there's some people that are just like, knocking at my door, going, "What are you doing? How do we do this? I need to learn." And then other people are like, "Yeah, it's cool, man." They're just like kind of watching, like it's really cool. And then I haven't seen anyone. No one's been like, at least into my face, like very negative on it. I'm sure there are those people that look at it and go, "Huh," but honestly, most of them are just trying to like get into it, from what I've seen.
Right.
And then, yeah, 100%. We're going to see wild stuff happen in this space. Absolutely. We're going to see NFT projects mint out, $50 million projects.
I love hearing you say that. Incredible. Keep telling me more. Tell me more what you see there.
It's going to happen. It's absolutely going to happen. It's going to be dope.
Is this a Christopher Nolan coming pissed off that he can't get his 200 mil or whatever it is, and he's like, "I'll get it from them if you won't give it to me"? Or is it?
That'll happen. That'll happen. Yeah, the day will come where some really cool filmmaker is just going to be like, I just want to do this my way, and this is what I'm going to give back to the community. This is the offering, and they'll get it. They'll mint out, and they'll go make a film. And then all of a sudden it's going to be like, holy fuck, like Tarantino made an NFT movie.
This just fires me up so much just hearing you say this, being in the space and this being your career and really, your focus for 30 plus years. To hear you say that from the space, it gives me a good anxiety of like, holy shit, maybe we won't have to wait on studio heads to decide that they want the next Ghostbusters or whatever.
Exactly.
Like it's no more. I get to vote now, and my money is my vote again.
Right. Well, hopefully it won't be the next Ghostbusters. Hopefully we'll get some original stuff out of it.
Right. I'm sorry. Jeez. It just came right there. I don't know. I can't just come up with something new on the spot. I don't know.
No, it's all good. I mean, cool filmmakers have always had to use technology and new platforms in order to really like reach audiences and make noise. It was the festival route for a while, but even that's kind of clogged in its own way. And there's like tons of bureaucracy now, and like I don't know that they would release a film like Reservoir Dogs through that circuit the way they did back in the 90s. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think we're going to see a plethora of creativity and originality come out of this space. Maybe it's a hope. It is definitely a hope. But I think that's going to happen.
I think we're already seeing it. Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's my point, is we're already seeing it. It's like all these new brands and new images and new communities and new ideas, new characters. It's all fresh. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see a lot of cool art come out of this space.
Something we rolled out last week. Is Prasant in here? I want to give Prasant the public shout out. I tried last week. I think he's gone again. Did you leave again, Prasant? Right when I go to do it again, he's out of here. King Prasant, our head of data and great engineer on our team, has developed a couple of things, and one that is really exciting recently is a Web3 based IMDb competitor that's built into the back end of Rad right now. And the reason I'm excited about this is because these can now be transitory transactions that it's a hard coded on the chain of an appearance somewhere. It's not something that somebody down the road can change, or IMDb is going to control all the data to. This is something that could be open and anyone could contribute to. And on top of that, we're entering a new paradigm where animated IP will be characters and will be, like Tony the Tiger could be an actual entity that's out here doing anything, whether it's interviews or movie appearances or rap song feature, whatever it is you're dreaming up. These new entities can go into those modes and kind of be an actor or an actress or an entity. I'm interested to hear what you're seeing or thinking on the IP in that way. Are you seeing a future where a Bored Ape or the TV shows of Bored Apes are actual characters that we are familiar with and maybe even household names in the near future?
Yeah, for sure. I know I've heard about this TikTok guy who got a Bored Ape, and now he's going to start like his own account through the Bored Ape, and that'll be a personality, right? We'll know that avatar via the ape. We're going to see wild stuff like this happen. Anonymity in AI is going to take over in a really interesting way too.
Yeah, as a director, it's really interesting to get your opinion on, like, are you excited about a time where you're not working with people? Like, or are you looking for it to be like a collaboration of both this new digital world and the analog, where these things are meeting together in a Space Jam's environment type thing? And like, is that something you think will take away or will add to the space and creativity? Maybe both even.
I mean, I'm excited. I'm super excited. Like I'm not in animation. You know what I mean? I'm totally down to do like work with CGI and really get into like some visual effects and stuff. There's some concepts and things that I would love to do, and stories I'd love to tell that require a lot of visual effects. I'm also very excited about VR, to be honest with you. I'm very excited about telling stories in VR and making VR films and creating worlds and narratives and plot lines that you can really get immersed in, and using that tech and that ability to like let a viewer look around while watching a film or taking in a story, I think is awesome. So these things excite me.
Do you think we're held back in the space now by tech or just by quality of the tech at play? Of like, we do have the 360 cameras and things, but they're not fantastic and not delivering, like cinema quality experiences of a record, especially at a level where most people could afford. I mean, you could do a 360 red setup I guess if you want to get 16 reds, whatever you got to do, but seems like a pretty big undertaking. Do you think that's something that is held back by tech, or something that is held back by the industry not really seeing the money there yet?
I think the tech is probably a little limiting at this point. I mean, even VR goggles are still kind of clunky when you put them on. Like the user experience.
The new Oculus is pretty good. I hear people say, and I think the new Oculus is great. I don't know if you've tried it, but it's
I
pretty
agree.
Nice.
No, look, I agree. I played some like first person shooter games in the new Oculus recently, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
Oh my God, amazing. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know.
Okay, well, we got a couple questions, and we're getting close to our hour here. I want to thank you again. I got a couple questions that we've been ending with that are have been great for our community, and we've got good response on, and people like hearing these answers. So, I would like to ask, what was your biggest lesson learned so far on your flinch journey, and maybe some mistakes or some things you may have done differently from the beginning to reaching this point?
I mean, plenty of mistakes, like tons of mistakes. Some of the biggest ones.
Hiring me.
Yeah, hiring yeah, hiring Mike was a big mistake. I don't know. I wish, I would have loved to have launched this sooner, but it's like, these are learning curves, like there were developers at first that weren't the greatest that I was dealing with, but like, when you're entering in a space, how do you find good developers when you have no idea where to look? You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard. Your mistakes are what make you stronger, and hopefully if you learn from them and you don't let them, you know what I mean? Like if you have a good head on your shoulders, mistakes are great. They can just take a little bit of time, but it's like there's that triangle. You only get to pick two: time, like fast, good, and cheap. If you want something fast and cheap, it won't be good. If you want something, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, plenty. I mean, tons of mistakes.
Does anybody that's listening have any questions for King Cameron Van Hoy before we?
I have a question.
Let's go. Let's hear it, King Tony.
It could be quick or big to unpack, but I'm always curious. What people see is missing from the space. Like if you had one thing that made quality of life 10 times better in what you're trying to do right now, what would it be?
What would make my quality of life better? I don't know. I mean, the only negative about quality of life as I see it in this space is that getting the word out there is quite the grind, right? But I don't know a better way to do it is the thing. It's like we have to be in these spaces and talking and communicating and really talk like what I'm doing with this project. Like, this is a new idea. It's a 10,000 generative PFP project, but what we're doing is different. We're making film franchise, and then we have like a utility that's a little different. How do you explain that to people? And people are very, very receptive to new ideas in this space, and they once they understand it, they're like, oh, I'm in for this. Let's try this. Let's see where this goes. But you got to put that time in, and that time is a time suck for sure. Time I would honestly, I'd love to be writing another script. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing some other things, but I am enjoying it at the same time. It's very interesting, and I really believe in this space and this project. So it's time well spent as I see it. But I don't know, like an AI of me that could hold down more Twitter spaces. So
that's a great answer.
Well, that was the hope with this, is that Cam is a genius and records it, and we turn it into a podcast so that the people here can scale and they don't have to be on every single Twitter space saying the same thing over and over
that's
again.
Really been our goal. And like, that's what I told you when we first spoke, Cameron, is like Rad's goal right now is to be as helpful in the distribution and the unwalling of gardens for creators as we can. And getting your story to as many people as we can in our community and getting your content in front of as many people as we can is what we really feel like is the best value that we can be adding. And then, of course, listening to your feedback and other creators in the space, trying to decide, what it is exactly, what tools you all feel you're missing. And like, just being completely transparent, you and I have been talking about getting your film on Rad, and the way you're currently doing it is a rental model. You've kind of followed the let's say the Louis C.K. model, that 2006, 2007, he launched a special and it was $5 on his own website, and it's awesome.
I think he's doing it again.
Is he?
Yeah.
Miss Louis, love Louis.
Yeah, I think he's making a comeback.
He is, yeah, for sure.
Mike was on Louis.
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Cool. Very cool. On the show?
Yeah, I was on season 1 on an episode.
Oh, cool.
Great guy. I love him. Miss him.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to see, like you're kind of doing a rental model, and I'm interested to know if you've considered an own model. Are you trying to stick with the rental model moving forward, and maybe any other considerations on your distribution models?
I'm open to all things. At this point, the most important thing for me is that the film is like, I want people who are going to join the community to watch part 1, because that way they can know if they really want to be a part of the project or not. And then once we get through the mint, we're going to work with the community to come up with like our full strategy of what we want to do next. How do we want to approach it? What do we want to do with the film? How do we want its exploitation to live? But I'm very open.
Yeah, we'll keep those talks going. I mean, we're looking for the best ways to service you all. We've talked about internally ways to do rentals and things, but a rental on Ethereum, it sounds good in theory, but when you get into are you doing that with an NFT? Are you just doing a transaction? Then there's gas fees, and the gas fees are more than the rental fee. And I think the Polygon choice you guys made at 2.5 Matic to rent your film is a really great decision and a good starting point, especially as you said, as a founder and a director that is like, where do I go day one to get this thing that I know can be built? Where do I go to get it built? And for you to jump through the hoops of getting that built and basically deving the project yourself or architecting it yourself is says a lot about, I think, how committed you are to what you're doing, and the way that you're thinking about it adds a lot of value to what the future of the project could hold.
Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you guys. You know, what you're doing in the space, like this is how it starts. So I'm very excited to work with you.
Great. Well, we'll just keep the conversations going. Does anybody else have a question for King Cameron Van Hoy before we wrap up this conversation?
What are your darkest fears?
To end up like you.
Man, I don't have any dark fears. I always say,
end up like me.
That's my worst fear, Mike, is that I end up like you.
All right, fair enough.
I don't know. Mike's made me laugh a lot. I like you, Mike. I don't even know you. I think you got it going all right, Mike. It's all right.
You know, I'm the likable one.
All we got to do here is die. There should be no fear. That's it. It's all we got to do, and we all got to do it. We're all in line. Nothing to fear here. Go ahead and fail. I've been seeing a lot of things of people tweeting lately of being afraid to fail, and how failures should be more championed, and like a failure for somebody that keeps going, if like you said, if you're making mistakes and paying attention, you're learning. And I failed hundreds of times before I saw any success in my artistic career, and the fact that people keep pushing through and whatever's next, taking that next step, I think that's something that really resonates with everybody in this space as we're trailblazing this new space and this dark room that we're slowly lighting up together.
I love that, man.
I love that, man. Absolutely, yeah, sure.
All right, well, Tony, anything else before we end it? Anderson, I see you joined. Thank you for joining today, King. Kevin Fayborg, our lead of our head of product, is in here as well. And as we say every week, you could join our Discord, and Kevin and the rest of our engineers are in there talking about everything in the Aura Dev channel, everything they're building, all the updates. They do everything out in the open, and you could talk to them right now, seeing exactly what they're doing. Our live conversations of pretty much everything are out in the open. So join our Discord and come see what we're doing, and definitely take the time to go check out everything that Cameron Van Hoy and his team are doing at Flinch NFT. They've delivered an 1:45-minute long feature-length film with some of the biggest names on the planet right now. I mean, it's undeniable how big the name Tom Segura is. He's big in South America. He's big in North America. He's got one of the biggest podcasts in the world. He's one of the #1 selling comedians, and Cameron's put together a film starring him, Daniel Zavato, Tilda Cobham Hervey, Kathy Moriarty. I think she was in. Wasn't she in Raging Bull or something? Is that what I know that name from?
Yeah. She's a legend. Academy Award nominated.
Yep. I mean, you guys have really done some great work, and make sure you go check out their website, which is Flinch. I'm pulling it up, make sure I get it right. FlinchTheMovie.com, and you can watch their movie and join their community for $2.50 Matic. You just connect your wallet, and there's directions at the top of the website. If you click on cinema, you can see the very simple directions to watch the film. And I encourage you all to follow Cameron. It's been great getting to know him over the past couple weeks and see everything that they're building. You guys are doing a great job, and we really appreciate your time and your contributions to the space.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, that's it, everybody. You done, Tony? We done here? You got something else?
Yeah, excited to see you guys in LA. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's get that on the books. You guys. I'll get us connected in Discord in a chat, so you guys can get talking, and then look forward to continuing the conversations and maybe getting the Flinch movie over on Rad in some fashion. Hey, before we go, I want to ask you, do you have anything you'd like to drop to our community, or anything you'd like to say about the Flinch NFT? Do you have any whitelist? I know
any alpha.
Yeah, you said you're gonna do the mint once your whitelist hit a certain number. Any update on that, or any idea when you may be looking to do the mint?
Yeah, look, I think we're looking at May at this point for the mint. And, look, I'm happy to offer to you guys we call our whitelist a hit list. some hit list spots for your community. And
awesome.
So we can talk about that, a way to get out some hit lists for your peeps. We'd love to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Dope.
This
was
All
great.
Right. Well, that's
this was great.
It was
yeah,
great.
This was great.
Really fun talking to you guys, and you guys have obviously doing great work in the space. And any way we can help, feel free to reach out, and we'll blast everything to our community and amplify anything you guys are doing. Like I said, we're just looking to add value to projects like yours and creators like you all. You guys are really the reason we exist. So
crushing it.
Yeah, we're listening and looking to add value however we can. So just let us know how we can keep doing that. And again, I want to thank you all. Thank you very much for your time today and telling us your story and everything about Flinch. I think you guys will have a great project, and our community will be excited to hear about your mint and everything you guys have coming up, especially with the revenue sharing. I just think that's it like breaks your mind. Yeah, like really, like what? I can own a piece of a franchise? Like, it's almost unbelievable. As a dude just sitting in front of his computer with some ETH, like, you are now the guy that can fund the next big project. And it's such an exciting time to be in this space. So thank you guys for your contribution. And as always, this will be uploaded to Spotify and Apple and YouTube and Rad. We encourage you all to check it out at Rad, bit.ly/Rad NFTV, and you can get all the links there. Just go to rad.live.
Yo, I'll drop one more thing. We do something called Flinch Fridays. Flinch Fridays, every Friday we do this. It's at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'd love to have you here. Min, I see your hand up. If you have some questions for Flinch specifically regarding the project, since the space is ending, jump in there. We can answer them. And I hope to see you guys there.
Awesome. Thanks, Cameron.
Killer. Yeah,
y'all have a great weekend. Awesome. And thank you all for tuning in.
Appreciate it.
Later, guys.
We'll see y'all next time. It's been a great episode. Rad NFTV episode 8. And we'll see y'all next Friday right here at 12 noon. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
Great weekend.